Many of us were raised in homes where we didn't maybe see our fathers treat our mothers well. Maybe there wasn't a father in the home, or there was a father who wasn't loving to our mother. Um, so we didn't have proper courting modeled to us, let's say. Uh, Maybe a long time ago when people lived in small towns and communities, uh, people got to see more dating going on among their neighbors and their cousins and so on. I personally have not observed any dating or courtship. I just was kind of always winging it. And I would bring behaviors into my dating that don't serve well in dating. I think that's why a lot of us struggle with dating. We don't really know what to expect or how to behave. So, a common strategy for women is, oh my God, this guy is really nice, I think. We see this guy either online or in person. This guy is handsome, he's got a good job, he's involved in the community, he seems like a good father, or he's fit, or he's funny. And then we project onto him and we start just loving him and giving him husband treatment. We're nice, we're available, we have sex, and so on. And that's a strategy that I've used. Um, and then, and for me, even now, I'm struggling with, I know what I don't want. I don't know how dating is supposed to look. And couple that with the fact that so many men are so casual in their online dating and don't approach in real life. And like, are my standards too high? Am I asking too much? And I start questioning myself. So my work now has been back to just trusting myself. And I really believe that a man interested in a woman will pursue, but a man's only going to pursue for two reasons, in my opinion. He will pursue for sex, and that will be for many men the main driver. They really want sex, and so they will pursue for sex with many women. If he wants sex, he will pursue many women for that. Like, depending on his age, 80% of women. As he gets older, maybe only 30% of women. That's what he will pursue for. If he wants a wife, he will pursue really few women. Maybe a couple in every city, like rarely. Something has to spark his heart and his desire that this is wife material. So he will only pursue few women, and with those women, he's not going to push for sex unless he's like super needy or something. So, uh, so I think we have to get used to the idea if we're online dating that the majority of men are not going to be very interested in dating or meeting up if they're looking for a relationship, and probably neither are we. But what are we supposed to like look for from men? And so I came across a good video this morning, which I'll link in the description, and he gave 7 points, 7 main points for women that what we look for, like how to change our attraction barometer so that we get better results. We're looking for a relationship and we're getting guys that are texter boys or fuck boys or unavailable. So what do we need to look for? Um, First of all, we have to stop. I'm going to go in a different order than he gave them. We have to stop projecting a fantasy onto guys and just really see what they do and how they show up and how we feel. And in order to stop projecting, we have to get into reality and do a few things. First of all, we have to be willing to lose him by asking tough questions, like, what are you looking for in a relationship? You can ask someone anything you want. They don't have to answer it. But here's the key. Notice what you're afraid to ask, because he might think you're too, needy or too pushy, or you want a relationship too much, or he might get upset, or he might leave you. You have a right to ask questions and ask tough questions. And a man that's interested in you for a relationship will want to answer them. Even if to say, I don't want to answer that. So it's about us being in the right mindset. This is the important thing. It's about who we are being as women. So we have to be willing to take a stand for ourselves and ask tough questions. The second thing is to only invest in men who consistently pursue. And for me, I have a very sensitive pursuing awareness. Yesterday, I unmatched on Bumble two gentlemen that were actually very nice. Um, they were very nice. However, their level of pursuit was not meeting the standards for what I want in a relationship. They were nice, and I found myself really battling with myself. Like, these guys are nice. They were talking nice to me. They genuinely seem like they want to ask me out. But I started feeling like they were dropping off. And then I'm like, no, Sharzad, just be okay with it. Just be okay with it. These are nice guys. And then I unmatched them anyway. I'm like, I just don't feel like they're in pursuit. And, I was still questioning myself. Like, I should have been nicer to them. These were nice guys. But honestly, I decided that I only want to date men who pursue me where I feel pursued and I feel cared about. Because it's not, and guys who are listening to this, it's not that I want a guy to chase me and I'm going to be standoffish. I am receptive and I am available. And for me, my problem often has been like, give the guy the benefit of the doubt, try to be okay with. And I'm really catching myself in my own weak spot of, Sharzad, just try to be okay with. And I'm trying to look at, not trying, I am looking at where my breakdowns have been with men, and in my marriage especially. And that always was me trying to be okay with, and thinking that if something bothered me about the way I was treated, that it was my fault for feeling that way. So now I'm just experimenting here, nothing gained, nothing lost. That when I feel like I have to be okay with, then this isn't a good fit. Let me just try it. And it feels really uncomfortable for me because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't tell this guy I was unmatching him. He's going to wonder where I went. I should have given him a chance. So that right now, like, it's like a mind fuck for me. But I will tell you this, guys have their phones on them. They know when someone sends them a message. So to me, I know some guys are like, oh, I should only text every 3 days or whatever. To me, that's playing games. Like, you want to meet me, I want to see a message at least once a day or twice a day to keep the conversation going. I know, for example, yesterday I did tell a gentleman that I didn't like how he talked to me. I made that video. I said, please unmatch me. And do you know what? An hour later, he unmatched me. Why? Because he had read the message. But these other two gentlemen, 2 days or a full day or a day and a half had gone by and they hadn't replied. And yeah, I can make all kinds of excuses. He's busy at work, he's busy with his kids. But that's not the guy I want. And that's not the guy for me. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm willing to let people go. And I know this, my Facebook and Messenger box is full of guys writing to me. These guys on Bumble are just like those guys sliding into my DMs. I feel like a man needs to work for the attention of a woman, and he will if he's adequately interested in the woman. So nothing wrong with those two guys I unmatched. I'm sure they're exemplary men, although I don't know. However, they didn't show the level of interest in me that I need for a relationship. In my next relationship, I will only be with a man who enjoys relating, things that I could be great, pursues me with some energy and vigor. I want to feel pursued and cared about. So that's the other thing. Only invest in men who consistently pursue you. And no matter how attractive or successful he is, if he doesn't pursue you, that's a zero. So multiply whatever score you give him by zero if he doesn't invest in you. So don't get hung up, ladies, on men who don't pursue you. And pursuing is not trying to get his dick wet. That isn't pursuing. That's him wanting sex. So, you can get that anywhere. I mean, if sex is all you want, then I don't know. That's easy to get. You don't need this video then. You don't need this video if that's all you want, ladies. Another point he makes is hold off on sex until you're exclusive and prolong physical contact. The reason is, for me, I want to weed out the guys who just want sex. And that's another thing. I used to be like, well, men want sex. I like this guy. I should give it to him. Or, some women might think if I don't give it to him, then he'll leave me. Or I might think he's so hot, I want to have sex with him. However, for a relationship, the way that men think, you want the man to be emotionally bonded to you before he has sex, because then he's less likely to leave after he had sex. And men don't emotionally bond right away as easily as women do. So, assuming you have a great personality and he really likes your company, the more time you spend with him, the more he will be emotionally connected to you. And the less likely is to leave you. And as this gentleman says in the video, that's just how men are. That's just how men are. Sorry to say. Whereas women can be like, oh my God, the sex was so great. I like this guy so much. And then she bonds because of that. A man isn't going to bond to you because of sex. In fact, men can have sex with their wives, even if their wives they're not in a happy relationship with their wives at the moment. They can still want sex just to be close to a woman. So you want to make sure that he likes you for you. So you want to hold off until you're exclusive. If you want a relationship, that's very good recommendation. And also, to develop the emotional connection, I think people nowadays are so quick to get into the physical connection and overlook the emotional. And I've heard men say, yeah, I'm not going to date a girl if she doesn't give me sex within 3 dates. Well, then that's not the woman he sees as a wife or as a girlfriend anyway. A man looking for a wife is not going to drop this woman that looks like good wife material because she didn't have sex on the first or second or third date. In fact, you can watch videos of Christian men and women talking about how they're not having sex until they get married. So, if a guy you're dating wants sex, tell him to go get it elsewhere. That's another point. Each of you should be dating many people until you decide that this person is the one you want to be exclusive with. So just date him. He wants sex, tell him to go get sex elsewhere. You don't owe it to him. You are deciding if this is a man you want to build with. And also, I think it's important for him to find out, do I like this woman or do I just want to get my dick wet? Also, guys, if you're watching this, a big tip for you is please masturbate before you go on dates. Always masturbate before you go out for the night or before you have a date, so you don't have that edge of like, I got to get my dick touched. And you can just enjoy the woman and see if you even like the woman. Because sometimes if you've masturbated and then you go out with the woman, you don't enjoy her company, you know that you don't really like her. And that's a good tip too for ladies. Tell the guy to masturbate before he takes you out, so that way you know if he really enjoys your company. Because I know from like my escort business that there are clients who really enjoy my company, that some of them have had appointments with me where we had no sex at all. Other times after they've come, they want to really stay and talk to me because they like my company. I'm not saying everyone's that way. Some guys just want to get out of here after they come, like I'm good. But The point being, it allows a man to also to see what he really wants from you, and it lets you see if he likes you or if he's just wanting sex, because a relationship isn't just sex. I mean, sex is great, don't get me wrong, but we're looking for someone to build with, to build a life with, make a home with, build a future with. So we can't be distracted by sex. Um, let's see. Another one is to raise the intensity of your life so that, I think a lot of these ladies who fall for these catfishers, they have a boring life. They're sad. So this guy coming along is like a bright, oasis of water in the desert. And, you got to have enough going on in your life that a man saying hi or looking at you isn't going to be like the difference between life and death. Like my life feels like I feel like I'm dead. My life is nothing exciting, and this guy is giving me excitement. Get excited about your own life, and that's one reason that I look for men who are equally exciting as me, because I'm excited by my life, and I only want to date men who are also excited by their lives or whose lives I find exciting. Okay. The second one he talks about is increase your level of radiance, your expression of radiance, because happy people are more attractive. And when we're happy, we're going to be attractive to more people. Also, I want to say that also makes us only choose happy men. Like, I will never again date a guy who walks around being angry or hating his job or withholding his anger or being glum or melancholy. Like, I'm happy, and so I want to meet other people who are happy. So work on, making your life to be in a happy place. I think that also helps so that you're not like so desperate. So I got that all. Okay, raise the intensity of your, yeah. Um yeah, that's it. And a man's a man, when those two men didn't message me back that same evening or even the next evening, I was thinking, well, they're nice. I can get to know them. And that works fine if they're clients who don't get back to me or, they're friends who don't get back to me. But we're looking at courtship and dating. And a man's attitude, my ideal man has the attitude, like this guy also sent a video, how can I get to know her? And a guy ought to be thinking, I don't want to lose her. I want to stay in connection with this woman and pursue her. I don't want to lose her. I want to get to know her. And so he's not going to just send one message a day. If that's all he's doing, he's not bringing me enough energy, and I don't want another relationship with a guy who's laid back, unavailable, walled off, playing it cool, and all that stuff. I will tell you this, my clients come over here, they all have their phone on them. It could be in their pants pocket. Often they'll set it on a table with their keys. I've had, hundreds of men here. They have their phone with them. I think it's really rare to leave it in the car. They have their phone with them and their keys and sometimes their wallet. They set everything down. And I will say this, often during the session, sometimes their phone will go off and they'll check it and they'll be like, oh, I forgot to turn off my phone. And then as soon as we're done, the first thing they do, they check their phone. They check their phone to see what they need to get back to, their texts or their emails or their calls. So this whole thing of he's just too busy, you're making excuses. I see how men are with their phones. They get back to the ones, everyone's got a phone, everyone's reachable, and everyone chooses who they want to get back to, what's important to them. And me, from where I'm sitting, I want to be treated like I'm important. And I'm screening for men who are actively interested in dating and pursuing me and who want to get to know me. And if they're not, that's fine, but you're not my ideal candidate. So I think it's good for men to do the pursuing. I know there are a lot of guys out there who's like, how to get a woman to chase you and all this. Well, if you want the macho woman and who wears the pants in the house, that's really fine. I don't want to chase men. I think that's a lot of, that feels like forced energy to me. It goes into a video I'm going to make next about manifesting. Um, I actually feel more at happy and comfortable and peaceful when I'm receptive and allow men to pursue me. And believe me, when I think that the proper way it works, a man pursues a woman, and a woman either upfrontly states, "Thank you so much, I'm not interested," or she's receptive. A man's approach has to be honored and respected. A man's approach has to be honored and respected. Now, when I unmatched those guys on Bumble, I didn't want to unmatch them. I wanted to say, "Thank you for your time. This isn't a good fit." But I felt like that, I didn't like that you didn't get back to me more. You didn't seem that interested. I felt like that was just kind of almost like chastising them in a way. And I didn't know if there was any way to say it nicely. So I don't always know how to play that. But believe me, if they had talked to me in person, I would have said, "Thank you, I'm just not interested." I don't, for guys who are watching this and who feel rejected and so on, I think that when you see a woman that you really are interested in, you've got to risk the rejection. That makes you stand out. You have to do that. The same way that you go into battle and, kill the bears and protect your children, you've got to be in the pursuit of the woman and expect the woman to be gracious about your pursuit. And if she isn't, I'm sorry. I don't, then start reading. I don't know what to say because that never happens. Men don't come up. But I think they should. And I think it's fine for women, like out in public, to just make a nice gesture and let a man know she's interested. But he's got to do the pursuing. He's the stronger one. He's physically stronger. He's the one that's more eager for the sex right away. And it's just a nice energy for the man to pursue and the woman to be receptive. Now, when people are in a relationship, definitely I think the pursuit should be equal. But I think men need to look for women who are receptive to their pursuit, who are happy with the pursuit, who appreciate him and revel in him. Like if you ask a woman to dinner, she ought to be happy to that you invited her. She ought to be ready on time, make herself pretty for you, compliment you, revel in your, listen to you, care about you, state her boundaries, be interesting, have something going on. And she ought to pay attention to you on the date. Her phone should not be out. And she ought to be, complimenting the restaurant and making you feel like you're a king. And it has to be genuine, not an act. I think that she should let you know what she appreciates about you, and that's it. I think that a woman who is looking for your validation or who is rude to you or unappreciative of you is not a woman worthy of you. Okay. A woman has to be receptive, responsive, appreciative, happy. She can't look to you for happiness or validation. She can't look to men for validation. And when you compliment her, she ought to be able to receive your compliment and appreciate it and enjoy more the compliments from you than from any other man. I would say this too: when I'm out with a man and I'm really interested in him, I don't look at any other men. I'm just focused on him. If she's looking around, she's not that into you. If she's got her phone out, she's not that into you. She's maybe not able to be into anyone. So look for women who are very present with you, who are very interested in you, and who are very responsive to you on the date. That's what I think you ought to expect from the woman. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video.